Alright guys, John here from WWPD. A lot of you have sent me some emails and messages and made some comments on the forum asking me about my basing technique. It's a little different than some other folks do, so what I'm going to do is show you guys what I'm talking about, how to create your own basing mix, and we're actually going to base a couple figs here. So first let me show you what I'm talking about. We've got a British paratrooper stand that I did. We'll try and show this up close. But you see there that what I've got is a mix on the base that has got a lot of kind of sand in it and also some felt. I don't use a ton of static grass, although I do use a little bit of clump foliage for accent, and I do use some silver stuff we'll show you later. But basically we're going for a mix that I've had probably since the mid-80s that I've been using on my figs. So we'll show you guys the principal components of that. And the thing I use more than anything is the Woodland Scenics blended turf. Here's a bag of it. This happens to be the green kind of blend. You can get that anywhere. The other thing that you can do is get the big shakers of it, which I use for a lot of different scenery projects. I'll show you this up close. But this is basically a different blend. This is an earth blend, which I like the kind of earthy stuff. What we do is we take, and this is the big reveal, this is the magic bag. If this thing looks old as dirt, it's because it is. I've had this Ziploc bag forever. You guys aren't going to be able to see this on the video too much, but I've basically got this very fine kind of mix of stuff. Again, you can't see this on video, but we'll show you guys how to get this together, and you can have your own bag of stuff. And what I do is, I've basically been adding to that over and over forever, since the mid-80s, and I just kind of blend the different stuff together. And I showed you the first element of it, which is the blended turf. So the next element is some ballast. It's like fine ballast. You guys can probably see this in the video a little bit. It's a little shiny. But this is just the regular old brown ballast that you get. Again, you can get it from Woodland Scenics. I don't have the original bag here with me, but it's the very extra fine type of stuff. I think it's fine or extra fine, and that's what I mix in to kind of get that sandy look. And then the third element that I use is you can use the Gale Force 9. We'll show this here. This is just basic static grass. You can also use, I don't think I have any up here. Yeah, I do. I don't like this color too much, but I use this sometimes. This is the Citadel grass, and I actually have a nice little blend of colors. We'll try and show you that as well. So anyway, so what do? You just mix this stuff in different proportions. I'm going to clear some minis out of the way. We're just going to use this to mix in so that you guys can see it. But basically what I like to do is put in a fair amount of blended turf. So we'll go ahead and put that in